Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Omega Insight. Tonight's topic is how to handle the holidays. As we know, Thanksgiving is just in 4 days. Some of us have been preparing it for a while, and some of us are just scurrying right now. I wanted to take a moment and talk about how the holidays can affect us. Sometimes holidays can bring stress and depression, whether you're hosting it or whether you're traveling to it. And of course, this year with COVID, we have people who are experiencing separation as well. So a lot of these can affect us physically, emotionally, mentally. And so the idea is that whether you're gathering at the table or if you're gathering at the computer, there's a few steps that you can take to ensure that you enjoy your holidays and that the stress doesn't get the best of us. Now, I know a lot of people are probably a lot more on edge because of being indoors for so long and the pandemic, and I don't want to keep going towards that. I know that typically from November to January, it's a blur for me. Starting with Thanksgiving and then setting up for Christmas and then having the Christmas and the holidays and then who's going to whose house and getting the presents and blah, blah, blah. I don't need to go much more into that. You are all aware of that. Now, some of us come from very large families and some of us have very small families, and it still doesn't matter. There are some people who have really great relationships with their parents and their siblings, and then there's some people who don't. So the idea is not really where you're coming from, but I want to present you some steps that can help no matter what the situation. So the first thing is planning. Now, because I'm an uber organizer, love to organize, planning is my favorite thing. And I'm not just talking about planning for the meal, because of course there's the planning for the meal and the timing and make sure everything comes out right. But I'm also thinking about planning on shopping for groceries, but also shopping for the holidays, whether it's Hanukkah or Christmas, making sure that you have that list. Of course, planning for decorating. You want to make sure that you have time to decorate and enjoy decorating, so it's not just a hassle, like got to get it done. I mean, make it an activity, especially if we're home now with our family. Invite the kids to come and help, or your spouse to assist you with cleaning, or decorating, excuse me. Have them assist you with cleaning as well. That was another thing that I had on the list, was planning for cleaning. And sometimes when we clean, we overlook things because we're rushing. And here's the thing I want to really make sure we are aware of. It just has to be complete. It doesn't have to be perfect. Cleaning, no one's going to come around and inspect the dust levels on the back of the pictures. And then, of course, with the planning, you want to plan some me time. Make sure that you take some time for yourself. Sit back, have a glass of wine, watch a Hallmark movie, or go for a walk. If while you're at the meal and it gets so stressful, just go for a walk. Hey, I need to let my food digest and step outside and enjoy the outdoors for a while. And of course, the last thing that I want to mention for planning is your budget. Make sure that you have the appropriate budget and you don't go over your budget. Allocate time or allocate budget for presents, for holiday meals, for shopping, etc. You understand that. Or vacations. A lot of people end up taking vacations on the holidays. So planning is a big one. The second one is know your limits and your boundaries. Usually right around the holidays, you're going to get the last minute, hey, can you bring this? Or, oh, I forgot to order this. And so wants this present. And sometimes that's a bit overwhelming, especially if we're overwhelmed and then someone's throwing another item on us. So I would say it is better to say no than to say yes and have the stress or the begrudge it. Like, I have to do this now. If you're going to have that, just simply say no. I don't have the time, but be polite about it. Don't get into a raging, you always ask me for, don't do that. If somebody is asking and you don't have the time and you don't have the resources, no. I really would like to help, but unfortunately I'm unable to. Kindness with compassion. Stick to your budget. That's number 3. Stick to your budget. Make sure that you have the budget, you plan the budget, and you stick to the budget. Breaking the bank does not bring happiness. That's all I'm going to say about that. The next piece of item that I would address is moderation. Holidays come. My mother, I can tell you this, she is a baker, and the holidays were my favorite. She would start baking for Christmas. She would start baking cookies, Christmas cookies. We'd have the fudge and the crispy chocolate Kringles, which were so phenomenal, Congo cake. She'd make cheese puffs, Danishes. I mean, literally, this woman was fantastic. And she'd start baking, and she'd put them in tins and hide them in the house. And my siblings and I ended up finding out where they were. So she would end up having to bake additional ones because we just gorged. And of course, it's the time you want to indulge, you want to have fun and taste everything, but please, please remember, a piece of pie is not the same as a whole pie. A little piece. A piece of pie, a little piece of pie. Like, have moderations. I know all of us feel that. We want to taste a little bit of everything. It all looks so good, and we overindulge. So we can overindulge in the food. We also can overindulge on the spending as well. I know I'm picking on that, but this is where a lot of people go into debt, is around the holidays. The third thing I would suggest is be realistic. If you're hosting, again, I mentioned this before, if you're hosting, your house doesn't need to be perfect. The food doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done. You just need to make sure you have the food sitting ready. Your house needs to be clean. I'm not saying don't clean. Yes, please clean. But it doesn't need to be perfect. Sometimes we drive ourselves nuts with perfection. I'm one of these people. If I start cleaning and, oh, I wanted to fix that. And then before I know it, I've got the hammer and the tools out and I'm fixing light switches or door hinges, and no one's going to notice that stuff. So it's better to have our projects on the projects list. But when it comes to hosting, be realistic. And then the same thing is when you go to someone's house, or if you're watching it, don't be frustrated because the computer connections don't work. Understand that's what happens. You know, I love the idea of when our grandparents get on the Zoom and they're like, I can't see, can you hear me? It's very, very funny. So we just have to have patience when that happens and not take offense. If we lose the connection, don't be upset. If they lose the connection, don't be upset. Again, just be realistic. And if you're going to someone's house, the same thing. I'm of the opinion to be of service. I love whenever I go, hey, can I help? How can I do this? I'm always the first to pick up the dishes and take them to the kitchen, because usually when you say, can I clear the table, the host is like, oh, no, I'll do it. And, you know, sometimes it's just easy. Just pick up as you're, oh, I'm done. Are you done? And just help bring out, like, be helpful. Washing the dishes, especially on the holidays, is the big pots and pans nobody wants to do. So offer assistance there. And be helpful, like as I said. The idea is, I love the Hallmark movies, but sometimes they present it like, oh, the holidays are just wonderful and the plates and all the food is just delightful and doesn't it look pretty? We're never going to have a Hallmark Thanksgiving table. Doesn't matter. Or Christmas table. Ain't going to happen. So just be realistic and accept it as it goes. That's one way to reduce the stress level that we have. The other thing I want to address is family. Family feuds, I'm calling this. Remember that game show, Family Feud? Families are often a stress trigger for many of us. Again, as I said, some of us get along really well with our families and some of us don't. When we are going to encounter family members that perhaps maybe we're not getting along with, just remember, they're probably feeling the same amount of stress as you are. So for one day, put it aside. There's no need to bring up the differences. There's no need to, there's that person. No need to do that. Now, if you've had experiences like me, I've had those conversations from aunts and uncles and, you know, grandparents. When are you going to get married? You know, there's the question. When are you going to get a real job? Or when are you going to have a child? Time is clicking. The time is ticking away. Or the ones who have the advice. Hey, I know you're struggling. Here's what you got to do. Everybody wants to make a contribution. And when that happens, all I'm advising is express gratitude. Thank you. I appreciate that. and smile. Thank you and smile. I mean, what you can do is just thank you and smile. Because we want to remember that perhaps maybe for some people, this is the only chance they get to actually see you and maybe feel valuable, that they're passing wisdom on to you. And you know, when you get the questions about, you know, when are you going to get a real job, or when are you going to find the perfect man or the wife, you know, when are you going to get a great spouse, or are you still with that loser? Not that I've heard that, but I have heard people tell me that that's what a specific relative has said to them. Don't take it personal. Just remember that, you know, they're trying to connect, and do our best to be compassionate. Do our best to have understanding. It's so easy to just go, "Argh!" You don't want to do that to them. Just be grateful that they're having a conversation with you, and that smile. Again, smile. I know I've talked to you about this before, how there's a Facebook group called Gratitude, and all you do is just post pictures or post stories of things that are gratitude. And this morning there's someone so beautiful. She posted, she was grateful for the computer and the internet and technology today, so that she could reach her grandpa, who was in a nursing home. And the staff was so grateful, and they put the computer up to them, and they could have a conversation. You know, he's not going to be around much longer. And she was so grateful. It was like in Romania or something like that, and over great distances. And I'm grateful for that as well. So we have to remember that. You know, who knows if this is the last time we'll be speaking with these people, and do we really want it to be? And sometimes, you know, holidays is when we do practice forgiveness and just let bygones be bygones. Then there's some of us who have that feeling like you're about to pop. And I don't mean overeating. I mean the stress. It's on. Everyone is just feeling like your last nerve is about to just go. If you're at that place, or hopefully you do this before you get to this place, remember to speak up with kindness. Speak up. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling uncomfortable with this conversation, or I'm feeling a little stressed right now. Do you mind if we just talk about this later? Or perhaps I'm feeling overwhelmed. Can you just give me a moment? Make sure you speak up with kindness and compassion, and not reactive. Simply just have a suggestion. Can I just have a moment to myself, please? It's very, very important to do that. So remember, to prevent the we want to be able to speak up, so do it early as you're starting to feel stressed. Don't hold it back, but again, not reactively, just very kindly, very compassionately. Hey, do you mind if we not talk about this right now? Or I really like to say that I'm a little uncomfortable with this conversation, and that usually does it. And then, of course, finally, if you're really feeling overwhelmed and that there's nothing, there's nothing you can do, or maybe you're feeling lonely because we are disconnected and you may not be able to meet with your family and your friends, and the Zoom isn't working, connect with your community. Reach out to your friends. If your family members happen to be your friends, talk to your family members as well. But reach out. Please don't sit home alone and feel upset and disconnected and nobody loves me. Don't spiral down that. Just remember that you're a valuable part of our community. So just reach out. Obviously, everyone has Facebook, and there's the groups that you can associate with, or maybe some church members or some things that you're involved in the community, maybe your drama club or the PTA, or, you know, other parents of your children's friends. But just make sure you reach out so that you're not sitting home alone. You'd be surprised how much a support system can be. It's very delightful that, you know, if you happen to find yourself feeling, I don't know, I don't want to burden anybody, you'll be surprised to know that other people are feeling the same thing. So those are the things, again, that I would suggest for us to decompress our stress. I'll just quickly go through them one more time. Planning. Make sure that you plan for everything from budgeting, shopping, cleaning, decorating, meals, and timing. Make sure that you know your boundaries and your limits. It's better to say no than to say yes and be very stressful or regretting that you said yes. It's better just to simply say no and let that pass. Stick to a budget, which of course is very important. moderation, moderation, moderation. Actually, what I used to do is I would take a plate of cookies home with me. Instead of trying to eat them all there, take a little bit here, a little bit there, and just take a plate home. And just throughout the day, excuse me, not the day, the week. Well, it depends what it is. Be realistic. Remember, perfection is not what we're striving for. Just remember the point of the holidays is to celebrate. Thanksgiving is to be grateful, to express our gratitude for our family and friends. Christmas is, again, celebration. Or Hanukkah. Both of them are times to celebrate. Or any other holiday that you're celebrating, Kwanzaa. It's a time to come together as a family and celebrate and share memories, create memories. My husband and I were just talking about this the other night. He used to videotape everything. Videotape, that's how old we are. He used to record everything, and he hasn't recorded in a while, and I don't personally do that. I, snap a couple of pictures, but I'm usually just so involved chit-chatting, the moments go by, and I don't take pictures or recording. But that's something nice to do, especially nowadays. It's just put the camera up and let it run, and you can watch the family have their exciting experiences. And then, of course, after that, we have family feuds. If there's an issue with among the family members, let it slide. Use compassion. Take this as an opportunity to practice forgiveness. And then finally, two more. Make sure that you express yourself politely, kindly, expressing I'm uncomfortable with this conversation, or I'm feeling a little stressed, or I'm overwhelmed. Make sure you express yourself, use your voice, and then, of course, connect with a support system. I hope that this week ends up bringing you lots of fun and laughter and great memories. It certainly will be a different kind of Thanksgiving this year. I assume there's going to be a lot of Zooming going around, and I hope we don't break Zoom. And then just want to remind you again that Wednesday, we will post another opportunity to express our gratitude before Thanksgiving. And then Friday, I'm going to jump on for a coffee talk. I will have the day off, but I'll have an opportunity to just jump on and do a quick little morning inspiration with you. And thank you very much this evening for joining me this evening. So I look forward to talking to you next Friday. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy your family until we speak next. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Thank you for keeping the spirit of Omega alive. Bye now.